Welcome to Free Your Mind Fridays, a place where you can let go and find peace. Here's your host of Free Your Mind Fridays, Jacqueline Wallace. Hello everyone, I hope you all have been doing well, and if you're not doing well, I do hope that you start to feel better soon. I have had a pretty busy past couple of weeks, so that's why I haven't been able to do my podcast, because I had to honestly take a break and just breathe a little bit, because when you are on the go all the time, doing everything, sometimes you just need to rest your mind a little bit. And so that's what I've been doing, trying to rest my mind, making sure I don't put too much on my plate, because I don't want to get sick. You know, I've been down that road before where I just kept pushing myself, and I ended up sick. And that's what I want to talk about today, the importance of resting. It is so important to not only rest your body, but to rest your mind. You cannot keep going and expect to be able to function well. It's not going to happen. Quick story. Some years ago, it was like a very busy time for me. I was like doing a lot of different things. I remember I was starting to feel really sick, like really sick. I kept ignoring it, kept brushing it off. I was like, well, I got too much stuff to do, so I don't have time to go to the hospital. And it got so severe to where one night I was driving. I could barely drive. Because I was in so much pain. And so then I knew it was time to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. They checked me out. They told me I had a kidney infection, sent me home. But when I got home, it got worse. I kept getting a fever. It wouldn't go away. It was just getting worse. And I remember laying on the bed, and I just felt like I didn't feel normal. I'm assuming what somebody feels like when they're about to take their last breath. That's what it feels like. I felt like I was dying. And I started talking to God. I said, God, please don't let me die. I'm not ready to die. Please let me live. And right when I started asking God to do that, I got a phone call from the ER, and they told me that I had sepsis, which many of you may know that sepsis is very life-threatening. Like it can cause death. So I immediately rushed to the hospital. I stayed in there for a couple of days. They treated me, and eventually I started to feel better. But going through all of that near-death experience, because it was literally near death. By the time I got to the hospital, I was losing blood inside of my body, and it was bad. But going through all of that, it taught me one thing, and that's to make sure that you are taking care of your body and that you're resting your body, resting your mind, just doing what's needed so you can live a long life. You cannot keep going physically or mentally. At some point, you have to take a moment to just be and just breathe. Because if you don't, your body is going to make a decision to rest for you. And that's what's happened to me. Not only that particular time, but so many other times. My body was like, nope, I'm not going anymore. We're resting. And unfortunately, it was usually because I was sick. I ended up becoming sick from overworking my body. So please make sure you resting. Rest is so important. I know in our society, so many people talk about how you got to grind. No, you can't grind if you're not resting. You can't really get the things you need to get done if you're not resting. And you may be able to do it, but you're not going to be able to give it your all if you're not resting your body and your mind. So make sure you're doing that, okay? You don't have to constantly be on the go. You don't. You can take a moment, just a moment out for yourself and rest your mind and your body so you can remain healthy mentally and physically. Because that's one thing I'm making sure I do this year is taking moments out for myself and not be so busy on completing this task or this goal or being there for everybody. I've definitely learned how to say no to things that may be a little bit too much for me. I know how to say no now. If somebody asks me, can I possibly do this or do that? And I feel like I got already too much on my plate, I immediately was like, no, I cannot do it. And yes, because I say no more now, I've lost a lot of people in my life. But I'm cool with that because I want to be surrounded by people who care about my mental health and my physical health. So if the people in your life don't care about making sure that you're good mentally and physically, then it's time to reevaluate your circle. Make sure you're surrounded by people who care about your mental health, who care about your physical health, not just people who just want to constantly take from you. But please, I'm begging you, please take moments out to yourself. Please make sure you're resting your mind and your body because you can't function. I mean, you can try, but you're not going to be able to give it 100. You're not going to be able to give it 100 if you're tired. This weekend, I want you to make sure you're resting. Just rest. You ain't got to always do something. Sometimes just rest. Rest your mind, rest your body. Just rest. Just rest. You don't always have to feel like that if you're not doing something, then you're not making moves or things are not going to happen in your life. No, they're going to happen. Whatever God has for you, it's going to happen. But he want to make sure you rest in between. You know, he don't want you to just keep going. That's not of God. God wants us to rest our minds and our bodies. So make sure you're resting and make sure you're saying no to things that are a little bit too much for you. You don't have to please everybody. That's including your kids, your husband, your wife, your mama, your dad. I don't care who it is. Learn how to say no to things that are a little bit too much for you. If it's too much, say no. Just say no. They'll understand. If you never get to it, they'll understand. If you can't do it, they'll understand. If they truly love you. Okay? But make sure you're resting your body and your mind. Okay? Because you need to remain mentally and physically healthy in order to do what God has called you to do. So rest. Okay, that is it for this week. I do hope that something I said maybe encourage you or help you. Join me next week for another episode of Free Your Mind Friday. And please rest this weekend. Okay? Rest. Just rest. All right? Take care.
Just to be loved by you. I know that song. That's a good one. Kisses on the surface, feel the warmth beneath the earth. The morning rises, greets me with surprises. I can feel your energy wrapped around my body. This kind of love knows no limit, there is plenty for both you and me. To shape fantasies, to create new dreams. Here's to beginnings. Success and prosperity, claim it all cause it's guaranteed. You can have it all, don't let nobody come between. What he designed is purpose, it's your journey, it's on purpose. Don't ignore the light, just believe that you're to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. The action or process of regaining possession or control of something stolen or lost. Recovery.
All you gotta do is hold on.